welcome to Kate Rebel's Realm. I am Kate Rebel, and we are doing the Star Piercers today. And there's a lot of doubles in this, so I think I'll be able to do it in one video, so I'm pretty excited about it. I can also upload longer videos now, which is awesome. So thank you guys for watching and subscribing and liking. Super, super appreciate it. Okay, let's get into the Star Piercers. And yes, we are going to talk about Liam. We are. And hey, accuracy and precision. The crossbowman captain of Sandrock. He is a loyal and courageous man with excellent archery techniques. I bet you are, Liam. I bet. Cutter! A dash of poison. A goblin born at the bottom of Free Federation, he grew up hanging out in the darkest streets of the city and developed a mastery of flying daggers. He is very venomous and likes to mock and ridicule others. However, he is actually so timid that he is always the first to run away when things go wrong. Aww, wait, what's in his sack? I think he has like a ton of money in there. It's glowing. Cutter launches poison-laced daggers with ease, but downs booze with less grace than an ox. Hoarding it all. Drago, also known as the collectomaniac in the Scalekin Looters. He collects everything from the smallest ring to the largest armor, or teeth and claws of giant beasts. In the eyes of others, Drago would risk his life for an insignificant and little valued item. This kind of behavior is totally out of the Scalekin survival logic. Drago does not care about how he looks to others at all. For him, the sense of accomplishment when a collection comes to his hand is far beyond any other feelings. It is a feeling that indulges Drago and leads him to the next acquisition. He's a kleptomaniac hoarder. He's cute. Whatever. We did her already. Vargas. We did Vargas. We haven't done Esme. Oh, she's cool. Let's see. Wait, what? Esme, once a devoted ally of Nyx, has embarked on a quest to track Nyx down. Although her resolve seems to falter, beware of Esme's relentless blades. Don't look at me like that, girl. What are you doing? No. Protect Nyx. Venom's shadow. A black sheep can cower in the shadows or blend into the dark. By now, most in Tyia are aware of the great rift among vampires caused by Nyx, daughter of blood. After Nyx scorned her kind by running off with a werewolf, someone would have to fill the void created by her apostasy and succeed in bringing her to justice. Someone who'd been waiting for an opportunity like this for a very long time. Esme, known as Venom's shadow, grew up quite literally in Nyx's shadow. A few years younger and lacking royal heritage, Esme was considered a mere commoner by most. Despite this, Nyx considered her a close friend, unaware that Esme envied her to the point of hatred. These dark feelings congealed when Nyx accidentally slashed and disfigured Esme's face during a sparring session. Esme never forgave her. When the order came for an assassin to hunt down the most notorious werewolf in Tyia and her lifelong rival, Esme threw herself at the feet of her superiors for a chance to prove herself worthy. Their response? Return only with their heads. Coating her blades with adder's venom, Esme delved straight into the wild, seeking both blood and validation. For months she wandered in silence, attaching herself to the shadows of the forest. When it appeared she'd never catch up to her prey, a shock of crimson moved through the distant foliage. Nyx. With only a moment's hesitation, Esme launched her dagger through the trees, barely grazing the other vampires as she caught wind and attempted to dodge. The strike was enough. Nyx dropped into the muck, her muscles seizing painfully from the adder's venom. Just as Esme moved in for the killing blow, white-hot pain seared through her as something large slammed her against a tree. It ripped her mask away, revealing her disfigured face. "Deimos, stop! I know her!" cried Nyx through clenched teeth. She looked at the scarred face of her would-be killer and former friend, not with anger, but sadness. "You've fallen far, sister, but you need not be a pawn." Wordlessly, Deimos picked up Nyx from the forest floor, leaving the battered Esme behind. So what choice remains for the black sheep? Nix's mercy felt like venom itself, but was she right? Esme weighed her words for a very long time before covering her face and disappearing into the forest. Oh my god. I'm sweating and crying, I'm sweating and crying, I'm sweating and crying. I'm not going to go into that yet. I need a breather. I need a moment. So we're gonna read a few other people's stories. We got Nasande, a tribal bombshell who tends to the weak and weary, able to bounce healing spells and increase attack speed. Healing the past. Behind every great healer is a tragedy that fuels their desire to save life, stop destruction, and make the world a better place. Nasande is no exception to this, and while she now uses her talents for healing, this was not always the case. Behind her rough grunts and distant gaze is a dark history that she rarely discusses. Her guilt for the total loss of her adopted home and her dear twin sister. Born into an avian tribe in the ancient Maternia jungle, Nasande was the elder of her and her twin sister Naya. Her early days were spent playing in the lush green of the jungle, learning about the plants and animals that filled it with such magic. Yet disease is no stranger to the heat of Maternia, and it was not long before her parents were both struck down by sickness. Nasande and her sister were left to fend for themselves until they were taken in by an order of monks. Here they studied the ways of their ancestors, learned about the lost civilization of the avians, and worshipped the great god of birds, Wakinya. Amid the glistening verdant trees and birdsong, Nasande grew into a woman determined to learn more about the avians and their ways, until rumors of a lingering menace began to spread in the settlements of the east. Nasande went with the Order's warrior monks on a patrol and found a gang of scalekin bandits looting the temples of the avian tribes. This was an experience Nasande's chance to prove herself and her knowledge of avian magic. As the monks threw themselves into battle, Nasande used a spell she had learned but did not appreciate its full power. It spread a gas shadow of death over the jungle and killed the scalekin bandits, but also many avians as the gas seeped through the trees. Nasande fled with several other survivors protected by the magic of their chief, back to their village where they found the gas had killed many there. She frantically searched for Naya and found her dead underneath a tree whose leaves had turned black from the poison. The chief ordered the settlement scorched and abandoned. Unable to forgive herself, Nasande left and took an oath never to harm again and to protect the jungle for the sacrilege she had unleashed. Living now as a hermit healer, she protects and heals whatever she can in the jungle. Yet while she may be a great healer, she can never heal the pain that drives her. Why do they make the healers ones so tragic? They make them so tragic. I don't think I've done anything with this hero ever. Let's see, maybe her story will make me want to put some effort into her, skill her up. I don't know, we'll see. Mischief and Might. The descendant of some of the earliest inhabitants of Taya, Lily typically roams the magical flower-filled meadows outside of Maternia jungle, where she learns all she can about the stories of the land, helping the good and punishing the wicked with her charms. Descended from a tribe of ancient tree elves that split off as they did not want to be bound to the restrictions of life in the jungle, Lily is one of the last remaining so-called old tribesfolk, or at least one of the last ones who let herself be seen. After all, her kind famously toys with others from afar, giving out secret rewards or deserving punishments depending on their whims. It is unclear what happened to the old tribes, other than that most of them simply disappeared one day, leaving behind strange mounds in the grassland. There is a range of theories, from that they were punished by the tree elves for abandoning them, or they were forced to live underground as the punishment for using their mischievous magic on powerful priests. Nonetheless, they are both loved for their powerful healing magic and feared for their reputed gift for imaginative curses. Lily is particularly friendly for one of her kind and is given gifts of food by local villagers who depend on her magic for healing. The tale of how she healed one elderly villager's sight so he could see his wife one last time before he died is particularly famous. She too is how she gave the farmers great strength so they could harvest their crops early before a great flood struck. Yet, Lily is fickle, and if not respected, her revenge can be both petty and cruel. When a young farmer cut down her favorite bush adorned with giant white thorns, she cast a spell that made all the food he ate prick his mouth with thorns. When a hunter killed a rabbit on her land, she is said to have turned him into a rabbit so that his own hunting dogs chased him away into the jungle. It is unclear how much of this is true, as so many legends surround Lily and the old tribes. Regardless, she is a powerful ally to have, provided she likes you. She sits in meadows watching the world go by, learning all she can, playing tricks and riddles on unsuspecting passerby, helping others who deserve it, and punishing those who displease her. Perhaps one day, when she grows bored of this world, she shall join the rest of her kind. So she is just Tinkerbell. She's just Tink. Tazera. I'm really digging that she's getting a lot more love lately in the game. Deep in the jungle, fighting wherever she is needed to protect the avian tribes against the constant dangers that now threaten the Maternia jungle, tireless Tazera is as talented with a bow as she is loyal to all life within the verdant realm. Without Tazera's steadfast faith and loyalty, the ancient ranger order of the bird god Wakinya would have likely fallen in battle with its legendary ruler and Tazera's father, Theo. Like Tazera, Theo was an idealist, a well-respected tactician from a noble family who spent humid childhood evenings with Tazera in avian ruins, dreaming about the return of a lost golden age. Known for kindness and devotion, Theo was a chieftain of the Wakinya Rangers, an ancient group of battle-hardened warriors who sought to fight against threats that blighted the Maternia jungle and one day unite the avian tribes. From an early age, Theo had trained Tazera in the way of the bow so she could serve as a Wakinya Ranger. Yet not all avian tribes wanted to unite or even protect the jungle. Some greedily eyed the wealth of foreign merchants who would provide great riches for the treasures of the jungle and the rangers that stood in their way. In a conspiracy between corrupt avian chieftains, scalekin bandits, and merchants, the Wakinya Rangers were attacked and nearly destroyed. Tazera could see across the battlefield her father fighting off hordes of scalekin, and she could see one hiding in the undergrowth about to attack him. She took a shot, missed, and before she could reload, the scalekin plunged his dagger into Theo's neck, killing him. She swore to never miss another shot and to continue his legacy of kindness. As a wave of destruction spread across the Maternia jungle, the bandits plundering its resources to sell them off around Taya, Tazera took command of the last remaining rangers to cast out the invaders. The bandits were driven out after many a difficult skirmish, leaving them fearful the jungle itself was attacking them. Although their order is far weaker than it once was, Tazera and the small band of rangers she leads do all they can to return the order to glory. Fighting in small groups or even on their own, communicating with each other in birdsong, the rangers are a safeguard for all harmony in the Maternia jungle. They know the ways of the jungle and are driven by determination to not let the order die like Tazera felt she let her father die. Unable to forgive herself, Tazera guides the rangers and has thus earned the ire of many in the jungle and the gratitude of many more. The amount of stories that end with unable to forgive herself or overwhelmed with grief. I feel like I let somebody down. I feel like I could have done better. I'm going to redeem myself. Like, so many of them end like that, and it's so sad. But she's just spreading kindness around. Okay, we did Idril. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Do you think Theoin is with Livian? Because remember that little love triangle? Because Livian was with Ain, but then Ain's brother turned on him, so then Ain disappeared because they were in a fight, and it was this whole thing, and he just left and abandoned Livian. So then Livian paired up with Theoin as her squire. Do you think he talks about her? Do you think that they ended up together? Okay, Theoin, let's see. Elven eyes. Even blind, his vision surpasses us all. Livian! Yay! A figure strides through the woods, as silent as the moon. His sight relinquished long ago, he relies on pure instinct. He is hunting. A twig snaps, followed by a sharp exhale, which betrays a sinister foe. With an imperceptible flicker of motion, Thein, the sightless twister blade, let fly a halati, his double-bladed instrument of death. It returns to his hand, slick with blood. When Thein was a young fae, he entered a legendary tournament, the scale of which had never been hosted in Taya. The grand prize? The honor of serving as the squire and bodyguard of the aristocratic aegis Princess Livian. Deep into the tournament went Thein until he and one other warrior remained, bound for single combat. Knowing he was outmatched, Theowen's foe released a mechanism of blinding light into his face as they tussled on the ground. Spectators caught the vile trick, and though the rogue was eliminated and shamed, the damage was done. Thein was blind. News of Theowen's misfortunes spread throughout the Fae kingdoms, with whispers of mockery and ridicule pervading alongside pity. A blind Fae was perceived by many to be as useful as a candle in broad daylight, but Thein refused to succumb to despair, vowing to regain his former prowess. In solitude, Thein painstakingly honed his senses, relying on acute hearing and intuition to navigate the world. To his eventual great shock, he discovered that living beings in his vicinity emitted a colorful aura when making sound. When he felt confident enough to walk among others, he discovered most he encountered let off similar hues of blues, greens, and earthier tones. Is he not like fully blind then? Or like warm, like blue is cold, red is warm. Most save for one. When one day he strode by Livian herself, she emitted a hue of radiant gold, rendering him awestruck. Thein knew he was born to protect her. A few weeks later, when a wounded fae from Livian's caravan crawled into town with grim news, Thein dashed blindly into the woods like one possessed with cause. Indeed he was, for in the nick of time, Thein let fly his trusty halade toward the snarling red auras of vile orcs who'd taken the princess's party by storm. One by one he cut them down, rescuing Livian, who knelt wounded amid a score of orcs she herself had felled. To this day, Thein has remained at Livian's side. There is no one alive she trusts more. Back off, Ain. Thein and Livian. Okay, so Thein and Livian. Let's go. We did Brienne as well, and our last one of the video, Lunaria, one of my favorite heroes in the game. I have been excited to read her story. Follow the Night. Life in the night elf castle of Alchemur in the enchanted realm of Alvenia is indescribable to those who have not experienced it. It is an elven land where the very air has an electric taste of splendor, but there is also a dark mystery to the inhabitants of this land, a trait personified by the enigmatic Lunaria and her quest for the power of the moon. Yet the interests of the night elves overlap often with what outsiders would consider dangerous, deadly, and wicked. Unlike the noble elves, the night elves find the marvel of the world lies not in the obvious beauty of flowers in spring, but in the dark mysteries of the night, illuminated only by the stars and the moon. It is the will of the moon to show light on darkness, not destroy it, and this too is the will of Lunaria. To her, the moon is the source of secret power, and she has endeavored for years to possess it. While she, like most other night elves, once lived among the noble elves, where she first owned her archery skills, she was angered by their reluctance to push boundaries. With them, she experimented with creating an art form that combined archery and the forbidden magic of the moon, perfecting this as her way to prove its power. Yet Gelfraldon, a noble elf priest, distrusted Lunaria's curiosity for what he considered dark ways alien to their mind, ways that could invite ill omens and risk the destruction of nature, and so he forbade her from further considering the power of the moon. Enraged by his arrogance, Lunaria used her new craft of moon magic to destroy the temple of the noble elf. Distorted into a night elf, she removed herself from the concerned prying eyes of the noble elves to make a realm for her own. Here in the castle of Alkmaar, Lunaria is a priestess of the moon dedicated to its mystery and beauty. Now in the realm of the Night Elves, she is dedicated to perfecting her art form and has established a global order, the Moon Strikers, open exclusively to those who approach their arts with the refined attention they deserve. She cares not if the members are figures of utmost evil or pictures of holy perfection. All that matters to Lunaria is knowledge perfected in practice. For Lunaria, after all, ignorance is sacrilege. Ooh, that was really cool. Like, I saw everything. This was like a story that you could envision everything that was happening and her slight evilness. But the vibe was very cool. I like that. That was so much fun. Esme caught me way off guard. I hope that since they spared her life, she can chill out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I had so much fun. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Kate Rebel of Kate Rebel's Realms, and I will see you guys next time. Fly his trusty halati. Hottie holding halatis. Okay. Master of Blades. Just let her be happy. Her and Deimos are goals. I choked and I got nervous. It's fine. So all of the men that she likes are blind, and yet that's her cutscene? I needed a second. I really... She emanates gold? That's so romantic. Boom, 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 boom. Nice. I don't understand. Oh gosh. Oh jeez.